Okay class, this is our classwork from section 1.2, fractions and algebra. We have 1 and 3/18 plus 2 and 7/12. Now as I showed you before on the video, the first thing we need to do here as far as these denominators are concerned is find the common denominator. And we do that by doing the prime factorization. So the prime factorization of 18, we know we have 2 times 9, 2 is prime, the 9 is not. And we can make 9 prime by 3 times 3. So the prime factorization of 18 is 2 times 3 times 3. Now the prime factorization of 12, we could do 3 times 4. 3 is prime, 4 is not, and 4 would become 2 times 2. So the prime factorization of 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. Now what we would do is this here. We match up these two 2's, we count it once. We have 1 2 left over. That takes care of our 2's. Now we have matching 3's here. We bring down 1 and we have 1 extra. So when we multiply this, 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12, times 3 is 36. So our least common denominator will be 36. So we will rewrite this problem here. I need to write this 2 a little bigger. Remember, our common denominator would be 36. Now we ask ourselves, we look back at our original denominator. We say the new denominator divided by the original. We add 36 divided by 18, which is 2, and we multiply that by the numerator. 3 times 2 is 6. Now we say 36 divided by 12 is 3, and we multiply this 7 by 3, which will give us 21. So we will add the whole numbers here, or the integers. 1 plus 2 is 3, and then we will add the fractions. Our denominator would stay 36, and 6 plus 21 is 27. Now what we have to figure out is, first of all, is this fraction an improper fraction? It is not. Do the numerator and denominator have anything in common? Yes, they do. They both have 9 in common. So we could divide the numerator and denominator by 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3, and 36 divided by 9 is 4. So your final answer here is supposed to be 3 3/4. Now we come here to 5/8 minus 7/12. Now we can go off to the side and find the prime factorization. We know the prime factorization of 8. We add 2 times 4. 2 is prime, 4 is not, and 4 breaks down to 2 times 2. So we'll have 3 2's for our 8. Now for 12, we already found the prime factorization of 12 over here, which was 2 2's and a 3. So we'll bring that down here. Now we have one set of 2's that match up, we write that once. We have a second set of 2's that match up, we write that. We write that once. Now we have one extra 2 left, so we bring it down, and we also have this 3 left. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 3 is 24. So our common denominator here is 24. Now what I'm going to do, because I did more mental math over here, I'm going to show you step by step here. So what we're going to do is this. We ask ourselves, 8 times what gave us 24 is 3. So we will multiply this numerator and denominator by 3. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 5 is 15. Now we ask ourselves, 12 times what is 24? We know 12 times 2 is 24. So we will multiply our numerator and denominator by 2. 12 times 2 is 24, and 7 times 1 is 14. Now we subtract. Our denominator will still stay 24, and 15 minus 14 is 1. So our final answer here is 1 over 24. Now we go down here to number 3. We have a multiplication problem. Now with our multiplication problem, we can do what is called cross simplifying. And remember, we can only do this with multiplication. So we look here, we have 75. 75 and 25 have factors in common. Both of them have 25 in common. So what we could do is this here. We could say 25 goes into 25 once, and 25 goes into 75 3 times. We divided both of these values by 25. Now we look here at 30 and 22. 30 and 22 both have 2 in common. So 2 goes into 30 15 times. 2 goes into 22 11 times. Now, let's see. Now remember, it could be cross simplifying or it could be up and down simplifying as well. Okay, so we could look here. 3 and 15. 3 and 15 have 3 in common. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So now our new fraction will look like 1/5 times 11 over 1. So we will multiply straight across. 1 times 11 is 11, and 5 times 1 is 5. And this is our final answer. Now we go here to number 4. We have a mixed number divided by a mixed number. So what we would do is this here. Our denominator would stay the same. But we have to change these mixed numbers to improper fractions. 1 times 14 is 14, plus 13 is 27. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So this would give us 27 over 14 times, we would take the reciprocal of 9 halves, which is 2 ninths. Now we could do the cross simplifying again. We say 9 goes into 9 once, 9 goes into 27 3 times. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 14 7 times. So this would be 3 sevens times 1 over 1, which would give us 3 sevens. Now, we come down here to number 5. Now we need to find a common denominator of 13 and 26. Now we could go off to the side here. 13 is already prime, so we're good with 13. Now we try 26. 26 breaks down to 2 times 13. 2 is prime and 13 is prime. So we'll have 13 here and 2 times 13 here. Now, only one of them has a 2, so we'll bring the 2 down. But both of them has a 13, so we'll bring only one 13 down. So our least common denominator would be 26. So our new denominator here would be 26. Now we must find our new numerator. Now we know 13 times 2 gives us 26. So we can multiply the numerator and denominator by 2. 2 times 11 is 22. 2 times 13 is 26. Now we know 26 goes into 26 one time. So we can multiply the numerator and denominator by 1. And that'll still give us 15 over 26. But just as a footnote, since our first denominator is the same as our least common denominator, since that stayed the same, then you know your numerator would stay the same as well. Now we would add these. Our denominator would be 26, and we would take 22 plus 15, which is 37. And that is our final answer, 37 over 26. They have nothing in common and is also already simplified, so we do not have to change it to a mixed number. Now the only time you would change this to a mixed number is if the directions ask you to, or if your problem started out with a mixed number. So it didn't follow. Neither one of those things happened. It did not ask us in the directions to change this to a mixed number, and we didn't start with a mixed number. So now we go over here to number 6. We have 7/8 times 16 over 21. Now instead of doing a cross simplifying, I'm going to do the other method that we learned. First changing everything to prime factorization. So 7 is already prime. So now we would take 16. 16 breaks down to 2 times 8. 8 breaks down to 2 times 4. And 4 breaks down to 2 times 2. So the prime factorization of 16 is 4 2's. And the prime factorization of 7, as we saw here, is just 7. Okay, so with our numerator, we will have 7 times, and we will have our 4 2's. Okay, now for our denominator. You can see here what the prime factorization of 8 is. It's these 3 2's. So we know 8 prime factorization breaks down to these 3 2's, which is shown here. Now we have to find the prime factorization of 21. So 21 breaks down to 3 times 7. So the prime factorization of 21 is 3 times 7. So now we simplify out what we have in common. We have these 2's. We have 3 sets of 2's in common, and we have 1 set of 7's in common. So our final answer, we will be left with 2/3. And that is our final answer. Now we simplify. Well, actually we go down here to the next problem. We have number 7. We have 7/2 divided by 30 over 12. So we would take 7/2, change division to multiplication, and take the reciprocal of 30 over 12, which is 12 over 30. Now you could use either method. You could find the prime factorization, or you could do cross simplifying, or cross simplifying. So what I would do is this here. I'm going to do the cross simplifying. I think that would be a little easier here. So we could say 2 and 12. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 12 6 times. Now we notice 7 cannot simplify with anything here. But 6 and 30, they have 6 in common. 6 goes into 6 once. 6 goes into 35 times. So our new fractions would be 7 over 1 times 1 over 5. 7 times 1 is 7, and 1 times 5 is 5. So our final answer here is 7/5. Now some of you may have written this as a mixed number. 5 goes into 7 once. Our denominator would be 5, and we would have a remainder of 2. So you could have either one of these answers, 7/5 or 1 2/5. Now we look here at number 8, subtraction. We need to find a common denominator. The common denominator of 15 and 5. So we would take the prime factorization of 15 and 5. 15 breaks down to 3 times 5, and 5 is already prime. So we have a 3 that they don't have in common, and we have 1 sets of 5 that they have in common. So we will write that once, and 3 times 5 is 15. So our common denominator is 15. So since this already had 15 as its denominator, it would still stay 11 over 15. Now we ask ourselves, 5 times what is 15? We know it's 3. So we'll multiply this numerator and denominator by 3. 2 times 3 is 6, and 5 times 3 is 15. So we will have 11 minus 6 is 5, all over 15. Now 5 and 15 both have 5 in common. So we could divide the numerator and the denominator by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So your final answer here is 1/3. Now we're going to start the section 1.4 classwork. Okay, now we have, it said basic rules of algebra. We have 2 times the parenthesis x plus 3 minus 8. We cannot do anything inside this parenthesis, and there's no exponent, so we would do the distributive property. We would take 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times 3, which is 6, minus 8. So now we will have 2x. 6 minus 8 will give us a minus 2. So that takes care of number 1. Now we go here to number 2. We will bring down our 7, and we would take this minus 5 times x and a minus 5 times 4. Now I'm going to show each step of the distributive property here. So we have minus 5 times x and minus 5 times 4. So we will have 7 minus 5 times x is a minus 5x, and minus 5 times 4 is a minus 20. So typically we will write the variable first, so we'll put the negative 5x, and 7 minus 20 will give us a minus 13. Now we scroll down here to problem number 3. Now we have a minus sign in front of a parenthesis. That just changes the sign of everything inside the parenthesis. So it'll be 5 minus 2x minus 3. So we'll put the negative 2x first, and then 5 minus 3 will give us a positive 2. So now we come here to number 4. If you notice, we had 2 distributive property terms here. So we would take 2 times 3x plus 2 times a negative 5y minus 4 times 2x minus 4 times 6y and minus 4 times 3. So now 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times a minus 5y is a negative 10y. Negative 4 times 2x is a negative 8x. Negative 4 times 6y is a negative 24y. And negative 4 times 3 is a minus 12. Now we combine like terms. 6x minus 8x is a negative 2x.